GM's EV division is quite extensive. You got something for almost every single segment. And for their Cadillac division, there's 4 SUVs for you to choose from. Today, we're gonna look at this, the Vistiq. Hello, my name is Jimmy. I'm a child passenger safety technician and definitely will show you exactly how well child seats fit. The Vistiq is their 3-row SUV, very similar to the Escalade without being just overly large. This will still fit in a standard parking space without just completely overfilling it. And it's definitely a good family vehicle. So let me tell you everything you need to know, starting with some stuff from the outside. On the front, well, the Vistiq is absolutely a Cadillac. You got the big old shield in the front, and of course, all the animated lighting that you naturally would need in your Cadillac. On the side, as this is the base Vistiq, dubbed the Premium, you only get 21-inch wheels. However, if you go up to the top trim, you get 23 inches. You also get air ride as well as rear steer if you go with the upper trims. However, I mean, a base model of the Cadillac here, it's not a base model in other manufacturers. This is very well equipped. There's even adaptive dampers underneath. Of course, you got your charge port right here, and because it's a Cadillac, you can't be bothered to open that port yourself. So absolutely, it is powered. And with the press, of course, it closes back down. Door handles, very similar. You can't be bothered to push in with your thumb. These are powered. You walk up to the vehicle, they're already jetted out like this, so you're able to open up the door with ease. Of course, it's a standard box-on-box layout. There's not too much about it, but they've added a little bit of styling element right here on the window, which I do like. And then around back is 100% Cadillac. You got the animated LED segments here, so that way when you walk up to the vehicle, you know exactly what you're getting into. And what's nice is the lights on the side here, it tells you what state of charge the vehicle is at. So as it's charging, it actually does a little of animation. It's kind of cool. If I open up the trunk here, we get 15 cubic feet of space. And there's more underneath the cargo floor as well. This is actually quite cavernous. You can find your charge cables in here. However, what you don't get is a frunk. All that's up there is electronics and, well, everything that's needed to provide power to the vehicle. So sadly, no frunk, but this, still not too bad. And you can fold down the 3rd row with buttons here on the side to expand that space to 48 cubic feet, which is actually quite extensive. And if you need, of course, you can fold down the 2nd row as well with just buttons on the side, and that expands to like 80 something cubic feet, which is very, very large. But let's hop on inside into the 3rd row just to show you exactly how much space there is. First of all, the doors, they don't open like a full 90 degrees. I wish it did, just make ingress a little bit easier. However, of course, with the optional captain seats that I have here, you can just slide right through the center, or with a press of a button, this moves up and out of the way. As long as you're using the lower anchors to install them, this will work. Once in, it's not too bad. I mean, I'm 5'11", headroom is good. There's a moonroof right above me, so I can see all the things up in the sky, which is kind of nice. Legroom is decent, actually. It's not horrible. The only thing is the seat is basically on the floor. So there's basically no thigh support whatsoever. It's definitely a little cramped back here. It's not the place I would want to be for long road trips, but you know what? I extend my left foot forward, put my right foot down. It's absolutely fine. You do get vents on the side along with some USB ports and of course a cup holder, which is mandatory really. And that's really it. Moving back out, there is a button right on the back that I can press, lift the 2nd row out, and then I'm on my way. Space in the 2nd row is actually quite good. Headroom, legroom, both isn't a problem. I know a lot of times on EVs, the floor is quite raised, but I don't really feel that in here. This is actually decent. The only thing I would say is, while yes, you can move your seat fore and aft to accommodate whoever's in the 3rd row, the seats, they really lack anything. They're like flat bottom, flat on the back. They just don't have that much support. And because of that, in a corner, well, I'll be using all the armrest and the holders up here just to keep myself steady. But I do get climate control right in the center, USB-C ports, you get vents not only in the center but also on the side, so you really can't complain about that. And if you're going to be filling your Vistiq with little kiddos, well, I am a child passenger safety technician. So on the driver's side, this is a Cadillac Vistiq infant seat. No problems getting an infant carrier in here. Although I would say the doors, I wish they open a little bit wider to make things a little bit easier. And the seat back on the front wasn't as bulky, but you know what? It still absolutely fits with no issues. On the passenger side, this is a Cadillac Vistiq in rear facing. There's no problem getting a bulky rear-facing seat like this in here. As this is the model with the captain's seat, I wasn't able to fit 3 across. However, a base Vistiq is with a bench. And I mean, just looking at the width, I think it should be able to have 3 across. The only thing is, unfortunately, the third row, you don't get lower anchors, but you do get upper anchors. Although fitting a forward-facing seat is quite tight back there, so your mileage may vary depending on your child's age and all that good stuff. Moving up front, these seats are much better than those in the second row. Not only are they heated, cooled, and massaging, they also have plenty of support on the side to hold you in to the vehicle. So it's actually quite a nice place to be. You also get speakers in the headrest, and there's actually speakers all around. The AKG audio system that's in here actually sounds quite good. In front of me, typical Cadillac steering wheel. You got all the haptic buttons on the bottom and a little bit of toggles on the top. There's of course a Super Cruise right on the top here to let you know exactly what the vehicle is doing. And behind that, you got your full digital cluster and infotainment center all in this curved display. You get a few menu items on the left to change what's in front of you in terms of the cluster. And then the cluster is very legible. Very good cluster here. You don't get a heads-up display on this base trim, but on the upper trims you do. On this, you just get a little blinking light if something was to come into danger. On the side, the infotainment is your typical Android unit. It works quite well, but like all electric GM vehicles, you don't get CarPlay or Android Auto anymore. So sadly, you're left with just using Bluetooth connectivity. From what I've seen online, a lot of people that have this GM EV interface, well, they're just basically using their phone while driving. It's definitely not the safest, but without CarPlay or Android Auto, it's definitely difficult to, well, get all your text messages and all your WhatsApp messages and use the navigation of your choice. However, I must say the Google Maps that's built in is actually really good already. And because it's fully integrated with the cluster, honestly, it works quite well. Moving down, you have another screen for your climate control and for your seats. While the interface is actually quite easy to use, you do basically have to take your eyes off the road to look down to see exactly what's happening. You do get this dial in the center, which is nice to control your infotainment. The rotary dial is something I love in like BMW and Mazda, so I love that it's here. The only thing is, this is a small complaint, but when you click down, it doesn't sound the fanciest. It should have a more of a solid thunk. This feels quite hollow. And because of that, I haven't been using that, and I've just been using the touchscreen, which is absolutely fine. Let's be honest, a touchscreen is probably an easier way to interface with this infotainment. The overall interior, you get soft touch materials all over. It's actually quite nice. The one thing that was a little bit weird when I first got into the vehicle is just this knob right here. It's to control your vents in the center. However, the way that it was sticking out right in the center, I thought it was a volume knob. I mean, let's be honest, we can all mistake that as a volume knob, right? This little rotary dial is not as obvious as this knob right in the center, but you know, that's just me. Anyways, let's talk about the powertrain before we go on the road here. Powering the Vistiq, you got 2 electric motors. Combined, they make 615 horsepower and 649 pound-feet of torque. The 102 kilowatt-hour battery pack gives you a range of 491 kilometers or 305 miles. At 6,200 pounds, well, it's not as dramatic as the Escalade when it accelerates. Put your foot down. I mean, it's still quick. But if you do want a little bit more drama, well, you gotta enable sport mode. Because sport mode, along with VMAX, well, things get a little bit more exciting. take a listen. Yeah, there's a lot of pumped in audio that makes it a little bit more enthusiastic, let's say. However, let's put it back on tour, standard mode, because that's, let's be honest, for most drivers of the Vistiq, this is exactly how they're going to be enjoying their vehicle. What it is, it's quiet, it's comfortable. And even on the standard base model of the Vistiq, you also get the adaptive dampers. So on my mode here, I can choose if I want sport or touring suspension. So I can firm things up. Same thing with the motor sound, the brake feel, or the steering. I can turn things up if I want to. On an electric car, that is something that is, well, quite unique, because not many electric vehicles gives you that kind of options. Because let's be honest, a lot of EVs are more of an appliance than a vehicle that you actually want to enjoy. But for Cadillac, they put this in because they are the makers of the CT4 and the amazing CT5V Blackwings. They are the people that understand, while yes, it's a family cruiser, they still want to give you a little bit of fun. And I'm sure in the future, because there's already the Optic V and there's the Lyriq V, there might be a Vistiq V in the future that you can, well, tear your face off along with everyone that's in the family vehicle here. That's what Cadillac is about these days, and I absolutely love it. Of course, with the Vistiq, you get Super Cruise. 3 years of Super Cruise is included with your vehicle, so at least for the first 3 years, you can basically turn that on, go for your road trips, and not really have to worry. It takes a lot of that fatigue out of driving. Wouldn't you want that in your family vehicle? Isn't that just one of those things that just makes the family vehicle very well-rounded? And as it sits here, it really is. A base Vistiq comes in at 96,000 Canadian, or about 77,000 US. Certainly not the cheapest thing in the world. However, when I say base model Vistiq, it really isn't the base, right? It comes with a lot of features in here already that other manufacturers don't give you, even on upper trims. Heated, cool, massaging seats, Super Cruise. These things are generally reserved for the utmost trims. And on the Vistiq, you get that here as a base. Now, the upper trims, you do get nicer things along with it, like air ride, you get the 4-wheel steering, heads-up display, better interior materials and whatnot. However, really for Vistiq, I think the base trim here, this is actually like the key part of this vehicle. And at the price that it's at, I think it actually fits quite well. It's not so expensive that people are going to be looking at Rivians, for example. This actually is perfect. It's right in line in that sweet spot. And I think for a lot of families, the Vistiq is definitely one to choose. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Would you pick the Vistiq? Would you pick something else? I personally love the Optic. If you only need 5 seats, the Optic is definitely the one to choose. And if you need a little bit more space, sure, get the Lyriq. But if you don't, the Optic is probably the strongest Cadillac model that you can get at the moment. But that's just what I think. In any case, let me know what your thoughts are. Like I said, in the comment section down below. Like the video if you do. Subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll catch you next time. Take care.